Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Won't you try this melody with me? Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 yai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Here's part two. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. From the beginning. Yai dai 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 dai. Dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 yai dai dai. Yai dai 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 yai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Page 128. Sitting with brothers, sisters, family, and friends, the psalmist rejoices with these words. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So good to see all of you. Are you more or less comfortable out there, I hope? Nobody's in the sun? Nobody's schwitzing too much? It's okay to schwitz a little bit. Well, it's good to see all of you. Welcome to our TBT friends and to our new friends and guests, especially Caleb, your family members who are here to celebrate you and to observe Shabbat in a very special way as you become Bar Mitzvah tomorrow, which we're very excited about. So welcome to all of you. I'd like to invite everybody to, if you haven't done so already, turn to somebody you haven't yet said Shabbat Shalom, offer a greeting, offer a word, say hello. And while you're doing that, Caleb, I'm going to invite you with your mom and your grandmothers to come up for the candle lighting. Hello. Why don't you come up to the mic so everybody can hear you, including on Zoom? And you've got an extra copy of the reading. Hello, how are you? Good to see you. Good. And whenever you're ready, take your time.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Amen. And step carefully as you go to light the candles. We're on page 120, and those of you who have the smaller, thinner books will notice that they're the bracketed page numbers in brackets. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. All right. Thank you. Beautiful. All right. We'll see Caleb a couple more times throughout the service as he gets a soft entry into leading the service. So he's not completely on from the very beginning, but he's going to do such a wonderful job. I'll invite at this point, if you haven't already, can you please turn off your cell phones? Make sure that we don't get interrupted this evening so we can focus on this special place in time called Shabbat. The great theologian, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, taught that Shabbat is so beautifully countercultural because as Jewish people, we build these beautiful edifices in space, but we also build even more beautiful edifices in time. The important thing is not a beautiful sanctuary, although I'm very excited to have that, as I know you are too. It's actually the beautiful edifices that we create in time, that we sanctify and set aside for a holy purpose, a purpose called rest and regeneration, called devotion, time with family, a little spiritual sustenance for the soul. And so that's what we mean when we say Shabbat. And that's why we sing with such joy as we welcome Shabbat. Our service begins on page 131 with Shiru Ladonai. If the words are a barrier, please don't let them be. We have a beautiful Yailalai melody that will come back to repeat. And here's how it goes. Yandai elai la elai, yandai elai la elai, yandai elai la elai, yandai elai, yandai elai, yandai elai la elai, yandai elai la elai, yandai elai la elai, yandai elai, yandai elai, yandai elai la elai, yandai elai, yandai elai, yandai elai la elai, yandai elai la elai. That's the whole song we sing now. Shiru Ladonai, sing out to God a new song, all the earth. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruch Shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato, Sapru vagoyim kevodo, B'chol ha'amim nifleotav, Hayaki gadol Adonai, Umeulal meod, Norahu, Al kol Elohim, ay, Kikol Elohei, Ha'amim elelim, Va'adonai shamayim asa, Hod v'hadar lefanav, Oz v'tiferet b'migdasho, Yandai dai dai dai, Yandai dai, Yandai dai, Yandai dai dai dai, Yandai dai dai dai, Yandai dai dai dai, Yandai dai dai, Can we all lift our voices and sing this melody? Yes, it's okay to clap your hands too. And I would be remiss if I did not offer also a Shabbat Shalom to those who have just joined us on Zoom, and those who have come in the back. Welcome. We're glad you're here. We, of course, are missing Dr. Kasorla this evening, who's not feeling well, but we look forward to seeing her again in good health very soon. We'll continue in Kabbalat Shabbat with Lecha Dodi, which is on page 138. This one has a call and response part that I know some of you know, but in case you don't, you'll catch on really quickly. You only have to be able to say two words to join in the call and response, Lecha and Dodi, which means come, my beloved, friend, let us go out and welcome Shabbat together. We'll sing verses 1 through 3, and then 5 and 9. And at our last verse, we'll rise and we'll turn around to symbolically welcome Shabbat into our midst. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Here's the call and response part. It goes like this. Lecha, Lecha Dodi, Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Yishmi'anu el hameuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem ultiferet v'litila. Here's that call and response. Lecha, Lecha, Dodi, Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 2. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor haberacha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha, Lecha Dodi, Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala. It sounds beautiful. B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, Kumitzeim mitoch ha'hapecha, Rav lach shevet ve'emek habacha, Ve'hu yachamol alaychem rach. Lecha, Lecha Dodi, Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri, 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 Kiva orech umiuri, uri shir daveri. Kevod Adonai alayich bigla lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise as we face the entrance to our space, only if it's comfortable to do so. Do you need to rise? Boi v'shalom ateret balach, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nekabela. We can stay standing as we transition into our Kabbalat Shabbat service, to our Ma'ariv service. We're on page 144. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, Be'amad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayetecho beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, ba'agala, u'v'zman kariv, Ve'imeru, Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach, le'alam u'le'almei almaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, ve'yitba'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnasei, ve'yithadar, ve'yit'aleh, ve'yithalal, shemei d'kudesha brichu, le'elam min kol birchata ve'shirata, tushbechata ve'nechemata, da'amiran ve'alma, ve'imeru, amen. On page 146, our call to prayer. Baruchu et Adonai, Amevorach, Baruch Adonai, Amevorach, Amevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. Seat as we together read on page 148, blessing for time and season. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, u'bidvuna meshana itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'misader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtsono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, u'mavdil ben yom u'ben layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo. Echai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, O God, who brings on the evening. Caleb, you can come on and join me over here. Together we'll read at page 150. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And now Caleb's going to lead us in the Shema. Whenever you're ready, buddy.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Good job. Page 154.
Ve'achavta
Et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levavnecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'v'shovbecha u'v'kumecha u'shartam le'ot al-yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'isharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. Beautifully chanted, beautifully led. I'm going to remind us one more time, the service is being recorded, so don't worry, but we don't use cell phones in our services here. Thank you. We're on page 158. This is Micha Mocha, which is our freedom song. The story of our people begins from lowly slavery and marches toward freedom and new opportunity. So this is the song in which we celebrate that opportunity. Won't you sing it with me? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot Osei Nora tehilot Osei Adonai Imloch le'olam va'ed Malchutecha ra'u v'necha Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze'elianu ve'amru Ze'elianu ve'ameru Adonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed. We can take away the words and just sing Yai-la-lai. Let's hear it, everybody. Yai-lai-lai-lai-lai-lai-lai-lai-lai. 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 Yai-lai-lai-lai-lai-lai-lai-lai. Yai lai, yai lai lai, 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 yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. Well, we're going to try something a little bit new tonight, and very Shabbat, which is that as we begin our Amidah prayer, we're going to give you all a moment to let the music sort of wash over you. If you want, you can close your eyes and just listen to a simple melody. And that simple melody can awake something in you. If you're not feeling like it's time to pray yet, maybe this will help you sort of wake up to that a little bit. And so we're going to have one more prayer. And then when you hear this melody start, I invite you to just listen first. And when you're ready, join in, but only when you're ready. And when you're ready, stand, but only when you're ready, and only if it's comfortable for you. That Amidah is going to begin, each of us separately, and then we'll join in the first few blessings together on page 164. But before that, I'd invite us to read this prayer together for the evening and for safety and sleep on page 160, a really beautiful prayer called Hashkivenu. Let's read together. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We're on page 164. I invite you to join in at your own pace. Rise when you're ready. And I know this is hard, but try not to pay too much attention to what your neighbor is doing. Adonai, Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Adonai, Adonai, Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Adonai, Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai, Ufi Agid Ufi agit tehilatecha. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Anora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avod V'Imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagein Baruch Ata Adonai Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Page 168. Atagi bor leolam Adonai Mechayei hakol atarav lehoshia Morid hatal Mechalkel chayim bechesed Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim Somech noflim verofei cholim Umatir asurim Umekayem emunato Lishenei afar Micha mocha bal gevurot Umido melach Melech meimit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atal hachayot hakol Baruch ata Adonai mechayeh hakol Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh ukadoshim b'chol yom yihalelucha selah Baruch ata Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. On page 171, we see this beautiful poem by the medieval Spanish poet Yehuda Halevi, who reaches out to God asking, where might I go to find you, exalted hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. Yet the moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. Prayer is a beautiful activity, my friends, because it is anti-cynicism. We live in a cynical world, and prayer is an opportunity for us to suspend those judgmental feelings, the suspicious feelings, and just reach out to something greater than ourselves with possibility, with a hope that really we don't want to squash. So let yourself have a moment of prayer now. Use the words in the book between page 164 and 180. Those are the words of the Amidah. Or feel free to just offer the prayer of your heart, Tfilat Halev. We'll take a few moments and feel free to have a seat when you're ready to. Prayer for Peace on page 180. say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Please join. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael amen. Although it has become somewhat countercultural, there is a reason why Judaism has insisted on a minyan, a minimal prayer quorum of 10 adults to pray together in prayer services for the last couple thousand years. And it's because there's really an incredible power in coming together and knowing that you're sharing a common purpose, common care, common simchas, beautiful milestones to share, and sometimes sadness also in which we can hold one another. So we have a tradition at Temple Beth Tikvah, whether we're in our building or on the lawn, that we offer a Misha Berach, which is a prayer for healing. So I'm going to share the names of those who we know are in need of healing. And if there are others who you'd like to share as well and add to the prayers, we'll have a moment to do that too. We think first of our temple members, Amy Agranov, April Diamato, Norma Diamond, Ken Gammerman, Henry Gettenberg, Jennifer Keller, Josh Lipschitz, Sabrina Maurer, Paula Retsky, and Ellen Warner. And we also think of our loved ones within our community, Marie Sammartino, John Marver, Connie Ambrosino, Alan Gilder, George Amir, Rochelle Downheimer, Jay Fliss, Mickey Bart, Sue Yaris, Joanne Crisulo, Matthew Pincus, Mark Ostreicher, Bart Young, Connie Talata, John Van Steenbergen, Chris Keller, Paul Frisman, Jordan Lustig, Gloria Newell, Carol Bartlett, Sabine Meyer, Sherry Cohen, Joan Sidney, Michael Stafford, Ira Weiss, Harold Solomon, Drew Garabo, Peg Pig, Michael O'Sullivan, and Adam Zielinski. If there are others who we should add to these prayers, feel free if you're on Zoom to enter their name into the chat at this time. And if you're here in person, I'll come around the space so you can share your name with the community if you wish. All of their needs are in our hearts. And feel free to tell your loved one that you prayed for them. That's a powerful thing to do too. We're on page 371 for Misha Berach. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor Abracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor Abracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. This week in the Torah portion, we encounter two very contrasting portrayals of what religion is for. In the first incident, a priest named Pinchas, who, as Caleb knows, gives the name to the Torah portion, takes the law into his own hands. When an Israelite man engages in a forbidden relationship with a Midianite woman, Pinchas becomes judge, jury, and executioner. The retribution is graphic and intense, and as young Caleb and I learned, truly not for kids. Just 2 chapters later, we meet the daughters of, say that 10 times fast. He actually can. The daughters of Tzlofechad, Benot Tzlofechad. 5 daughters whose father dies in the wilderness. They wish to inherit his estate, yet the applicable laws do not allow them to do this because of their gender. So they petition Moses, who petitions God. And in the end, God changes the law. You're going to get a reminder of all of this tomorrow, everybody. But just, I'm not going to take any of the wind out of your sails. I promise, Caleb. Here's the scene. Cain benot Tzlofechad dobrot. Noten titen lahem achuzat nachala betoch achei avihem v'ha'avarta et nachalat avihen lahen. The plea of Tzlofechad's daughters is just. You should give them a hereditary holding among their father's kinsmen. Transfer their father's share to them. In other words, God changed the law. So we have Pinchas, the zealous priest, and the story of the daughters of Tzlofechad. 2 stories that could not be further apart in tenor or content. And we have 2 diametrically opposed but equally important instincts of religion at play here. On the one hand, we see the conservative with a lower c instinct of religion, the protection of boundaries, and the inflexibility of the outcome of that transgression. And on the other hand, we see a remarkable flexibility, the possibility for the system to accommodate a brand new law. That is, to accommodate significant change in the interest of justice. Both stories about justice and the preservation of values, but in very different ways. The daughters of Zelophehad are revered in the Midrash, which explains that they are the reason that Manasseh, who is the son of the famous Jacob, who you know from the story of the fancy coat. Well, anyway, when they receive a major blessing from Joseph's father, Jacob, Manasseh is the ancestral tribal ancestor of these 5 daughters. And the Midrash sees it as in their merit that their tribe is especially blessed. So both these instincts, the instincts to preserve and the instinct to adapt, are revealed in this week's Torah portion. They're crucial parts of society. They're crucial parts of religion. There is clearly a value in sometimes preserving and other times progressing. In fact, Caleb, this is one answer to the question that you asked me, the big question that you're going to ask me tomorrow about why do we need religion in the first place? Well, one answer is that these texts and ideas help us to navigate and figure out what to preserve and how to adapt when a changing world demands that we change with it. Honestly, it's a similar debate to the one being played out in our Supreme Court right now. We see the headlines and we can't help but ask, what principles from the Constitution are important to protect as originally intended? What does it mean to protect them as originally intended? And what should grow and evolve to match our progress since the 1770s in a way to respect the principles, but allow our practices to evolve and change? I believe that most reasonable people would agree that these are nuanced questions whose answers often fall in between the various extreme possibilities. In Judaism, we must answer these questions by determining our relationship with our sacred texts like the Torah and the Talmud, Jewish stories and Jewish law. What authority do they hold in our lives? Do we see them as eternal and immutable, or essentially a product of the circumstances of their composition? Similar questions may be raised about the sacred texts of American civil religion, so to speak. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Federalist Papers, the Declaration of Independence. If we close our eyes and we think really, really hard, I bet we can all think of one religious ritual or rite that we would just never want to change. It would just be so upsetting if it changed. For instance, perhaps you can't imagine the High Holy Days without the beautiful sound of the shofar, or the Passover Seder without the special Haggadah that contains archaeological evidence of Uncle Morty's Manischewitz throughout the years. Oh, good, so that's not just my family. But equally important, we need changes to stay current and to pursue values that we hold dear, to protect the rights of people we love. So now we have Miriam's cup on our Passover table. And now we have an orange on the Seder plate. Who had an orange on your Seder plate this year? Who had a poppy on your Seder plate this year? Who had an object specifically to support Ukraine on your Seder plate this year? There were a couple of different ones. Poppies and olives. I don't remember what else people were using. Anyway, this all just goes to show that practices and traditions can evolve and change in order to pursue what we care about and we think is important. So our ritual acts reflect our values, whether that's in American civic life or in our Jewish spaces. My pastoral care teacher in seminary taught us, as rabbis and cantors, that change is inevitable and change is always sad, even if we don't think about it or recognize it, because all change entails loss. Even good change entails loss, and all loss creates some measure of distance, of sadness. Ergo, when we change what we do, how we think, we lose the previous practice or maybe a little piece of our previous selves. On the other hand, when we do not change practices, we also lose something, do we not? We lose the opportunity to try something new, perhaps something better. When these choices are significant and difficult, we incur a loss on either side of that decision. To change or not to change, both, especially when they're high stakes decisions, require a cost, a price be paid. But think about it, friends. In this Torah portion, it's not a human being that changes the law, but it's God that does it in response to a human situation, a situation where justice is needed, where those 5 daughters are now able to participate financially in terms of their stability and longevity in the life of their family. If God can change, if God is capable of adjusting to the times, then surely we are too, right? Shabbat Shalom. Going to invite us now to please rise for the conclusion of our service. If it's comfortable, please rise and turn to page 586. Page 586. And we're singing Aleinu at the bottom of the page. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula le'otzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol amonam. Va'anachnu koreim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 591. Ve'ne'emar ve'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad ushemo echad. Invite us to please be seated, except for Toby Mizell, who's going to greet us on behalf of the TBT board. Come on up, Toby. This mic might fit you better.
Okay, that's good. Hi, everybody. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. A very warm welcome to all of the guests that I see that we have here tonight. My name is Toby Mizell, and I'm co-chair of membership for the TBT board. Anybody that might be interested in learning a little bit more about our temple community, please see me or the rabbi after services. Tomorrow on Zoom at 9 o'clock, we have Torah study that's going to be led by our very own Ethan Horowitz, who does an excellent job. And then at 10:30, Shabbat services will be held at the synagogue in Chester as we celebrate Caleb Rosenthal becoming a bar mitzvah. Congratulations, Caleb, and to your whole family who looks like they're here. Last night, we had a really great turnout for the temple renovation tour, and we're going to be doing another one on August 9th, which is a Tuesday night, and we're going to have wine and cheese, and you'll have a chance to really talk with the rabbi and meet Dr. Kasorla. So if you look at your inbox, on your computers, you'll see that there are links so that you can sign up and register for it. Please do that. And there are also links to sign up for other meet and greets so that you can meet Dr. Kasorla then too. Does anybody here love to sing? Because the choir is always looking for new members. So I'm hoping that maybe one of those people might be you. If you love to sing, please contact Dr. Kasorla. The music makes such a difference in our services, and we would really love to have you. Join us here again next Friday night on the green here in front of the church at 6:30 for Shabbat services next Friday. Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Thanks, Toby. And you can also talk to Toby if you're interested in singing in the choir, because she is one of our proud choir singers. Thank you so much, Toby. Yeah, that'll be more comfortable. Friends, our hearts now turn to our loved ones whom death has taken away from us. Those who died at this season in years past, or those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own long ago in recent days. Those in our family who we remember at a joyous milestone. We say Zichronam Livracha, that their memories should be for blessing. Currently in the period of observing a yortzeit within our congregation, and I invite you to please rise if you wish as I read your loved one's name. We think of Stuart Kindman, Sharon Reed, Bluma Kors, Leo Siskin, Perry Deitch, Freddie Finegood, Riva Tischler, Hal Lipper, Isidore Grable, Charlotte Jacoby Orenland, Alan Rim Kaufman, and Phyllis Solidker. If there are others who you'd like to add to our Kaddish prayers, I invite you to share their name in our chat here, or otherwise you can say their name out loud here on the green. Friends, I invite us to please rise in solidarity with our mourners. As we turn to page 598 for the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'le'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring harmony to our world and to the hearts of all who mourn. May God bring peace. Together we say, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. We can all have a seat, except for Caleb. We need you and your sis and your mom and dad to come up for Kiddush. Right. Okay, our closing song request is Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Song for Peace, which I think is on page maybe 567. Does that sound right? If anybody finds it, let me know. If you find it, let me know the page number. Otherwise, those of you who know it will sing it, and those of you who don't will catch on. It's pretty simple. Words are Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, may peace come for us, Ve'al Kulam, and for everyone. And then we sing Salam, which means peace in Arabic. All right. Shabbat's for making a joyful noise, friends. So let's do that. Here we go. Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. That's it.